This is a view of the home in Metropolitan, the kitchen. There's Dick. Uh, there's Len sitting next to Joe, someone I don't know. There's Dick. Eleanor next to him. There's Bill with his finger in his mouth. Everybody knows that. There's Mom with bringing the milk to the table. Dad at the end there. Julie in the background holding Donnie Schneider. Colette, we put her off to the side to eat her soup with rosemary. There's a famous kitchen with Mom at the stove. That's the little stove. There's Julie again, Dad in his overalls. Grandma, she's not sitting down, she's standing up. Not a very tall person. There's Donnie being escorted with one of my sisters. There's the great Len Bertain swinging in Metropolitan, as distinct from swinging in San Francisco. There's Julie, the infamous Julie Bertain Kinney. There's Lenny again. This is a back view of the house, looking up after you pulled up the driveway, looking at the back end of the house. That was the kitchen, and that was the connection to the woodshed. That's the front of the house looking up at the bedrooms along the top. Somewhere along the way there it stops, and we don't need those bedrooms. Those are very large house, isn't it? There's, I think that's Lenny on the front porch again. That's the front porch. You can imagine as a little kid being on that, able to ride along that porch, how fun that might have been. Especially when you get to the end and there's the stairs and you can ride your bike down that, your trike. Those are the upper bedrooms along the front of the house. There's Lenny and Donnie Schneider's. Donnie smiling happily at the camera. There's Julie holding Donnie in the back, then Lenny and Bill. Bill must have been about a year old, a little over a year. There's Colette, cute little Colette, and Rosemary behind her, and they're all wearing these little cute little outfits. And there's Grandma, Grandma Bertain. And Mom holding little Billy. Bill looks like he's about a year old. Yeah, I guess, probably. Great picture of Mom and Bill. Ellen Bertain and Bill. There's Rosemary, and there's Don, and there's Lenny. I didn't take these pictures. There's Donnie and Bill on Mom's lap. So this would have been around 1948. Bill was born in 47, so this would be 48. This is taking a picture into the sun. There's Lenny on the left, Colette, Bill. I can't tell whether that was Rosemary or Colette. This is the laundry in Scotia, the Bertain's laundry and dry cleaning. This is looking down at the flat work area where the girls either iron or use the presses. But, in those days, this was 1948. The laundry was quite busy. The not very good pictures. I think there's a picture here that's the clothes being fed into the ironer. That's where the shakeout table was. That's looking at the back of the laundry, the washing machines, and the various extractors there. I think there's a picture of Joe in here tying bundles. Joe actually working. But there's Dad, Grandma, and all standing standing around at the laundry. Not a very good picture. You could see the gals folding the sheets. This is a great picture of Dad in his office. Pretty soon you see Dad throw his hands up, and he can't stay ahead of the bills. Poor Dad. He's throwing his hands up. That was Dad's office for all those years. I think that, I can't see if that's Joe or not, but I think it is. Um, if it is, then it's probably a summer picture. Okay, there's Dad and Bill, Grandma. There's Colette or Rosemary holding Donnie. That's Joe kissing Grandma. That's me making a fool of myself. That's Lenny. That's Colette in her swimming suit. Grandma kissing Lenny. Kissing Grandma was like kissing Aunt Bunny, the Eddie Murphy story. I think that's Dick swirling Bill around. Uh, Aunt Alice, gorgeous looking lady. This is now down at Willett's. There's Uncle Louie in his Willett's laundry truck. God, what a great guy he was. Willett's Laundry. And there's Jimmy and Carla, and I'm not sure which of the boys that was. We'll have to get one of the Jimmy's boys to tell us who that was, whether that was Vince or whether that was Paul. Either of you were watching this, you were both cute little guys, huh? Chunky little boy. So I don't know if is that Donnie? It probably is. And Alice, Jimmy. Donnie is actually Jimmy's first cousin. So when you think about our family, and yeah, there's Aunt Alice, and passing Donnie over to Jimmy, and there's Carla. These are great pictures, aren't they? Now these are pictures of Dick at St. Mary's playing football. It was a spring training event. Bud taking great pictures of the tops of the trees. We do that a lot in the family. At least I did. You can't really see much here because we're somehow concerned with the foliage on the top of that hill. Oh, these are great pictures of Dad walking across that is Dad there in the middle waving, and there's Joe right next to him. I think this is Dick quarterbacking for St. Mary's during spring training or summer camp. Dick's the quarterback there. He does a good handoff. You could see him. Remember, he missed your block, Dick. Apparently, quarterbacks weren't supposed to block in those days. Dick and his adept handoff, beautiful. So they ran that was, I don't know if that was Dick. I couldn't see if that was him doing the jump pass. That was a big deal in those days. Instead of just throwing the ball in the pocket, you did a slant across the middle and threw a jump pass. There's Dick's number, and there's one of his fullbacks going across the middle. Anyway, I'm not a very good announcer here because I have no idea who's who. Well, every time I turn around, I see number 17 handing the ball off. So I think that was Dick. So these are great pictures if you know everybody playing. So I don't think this will be too difficult to anyway. Looking at football players' legs is really great. So I'm going to shut up and just let you watch this. There's not much going on here. I could put some music on in the background, but for Dick's family, there's Uncle Jack and one of the kids. And I can't see. Oh, there's the famous Dick Bertain, the football player. This is St. Mary's playing at Cal, I think, as you watch the score go up. St. Mary's is said to be 1950, 51, 49, I'm not sure which. But uh, I assume that's a St. Mary's band because they're red coats. I wouldn't expect Cal players to be out in the field in red uniforms. It's evil Stanford colors. So St. Mary's probably had the red coats. But that's an awful big band. Maybe Cal wasn't that negative about wearing red in those days. They're the St. Mary's team in their red pants. Or maybe that's blue pants with a bad filter. Anyway, Dick's down there somewhere. Dick once told me that he he set 600 minutes on the bench, and he goes, "No, that's not quite right." He said the coach at St. Mary's once had made a quote in a chronicle that he was going to beat Oregon State or Oregon or someone like that, and they were behind in the game, and he turned around and said, "Bertain," and Dick stood up and he said, sit down." Dick said that was the only time he got up off the bench the whole year. So he set 599 minutes and 50 seconds. So anyway, Cal Rudy section, I assume that's the halftime card show. I think I see Oski being chasing after a gale. This is like looking up at the clouds and trying to see what's going on, and maybe somebody can call me. I see Oski there. Pretty good card trick. Maybe those are galloping gales there. I see a horse. This is one of those tough calls. I'm ad-libbing this, by the way, so if anybody has any better insights into what's going on here, we can dub over my BS during these games and go with someone else's greater insights. Or I could just shut up. Yeah, what's going on here? I don't think St. Mary's won this game. Well, they're kicking off. Whether that was at the start of a half or what it was. Oh, looks like someone scored. Long touchdown. Ah, think maybe we should. I can cut this down and take all of this football stuff out of this video. Yeah, that's what I'll do. This is back at St. Mary's again. Must have been. It's got some color on the. I'll leave this as an unexpurgated version of the video, and then I'll make one without just reduce the football to a smaller part and just go with the family pictures so that we can all not have to suffer through this again. We're right now about 16 minutes into the game. Into the video, excuse me, 17 minutes. This is the good stuff again. This is, I think, Frank Cerruti's father. They're in Willits, I guess. Look at those, I think those are tomatoes. Or maybe figs or whatever. That's probably Anne Cerruti, or yeah, I think she's being held by Frank there. There's Louis, and there's that Marie and Eddie Begay. There's Alice, must be Donnie, and Louis. Now we're back up in Metropolitan, up in the George Bertain's place. There's Donnie running around, and there's Marie Begay and Eddie. All I can remember is him as talking through his nose. He used to call JoJo, my brother Joe Bertain, JoJo. JoJo, how you doing? These are great pictures that Bud took here. Of course, I'm worming my way into the picture. That's Len Bertain, if anybody didn't know it. The same person narrating this thing. Those were great swings. You get going as high as you could. I never quite was able to get it around without killing myself. The laws of physics were not very pleasant there. There's Lenny holding Donnie. The arbor that sits out there was one that made a lot of fun for Bill Bertain and I. Lenny. There's Colette. Bill running around, and there's me sprinting to the back door there. Again, Mom and Alice Sneider. This was a little yard in the back. There's Colette. Now again, Donnie and Bill are what, about? Looks like they're 2. So that would make me 6. Colette 8. Bill was always so cute in those. I mean, I think he just stole the ball from Donnie and is running over to his mommy. Donnie and Bill are running from each other. We had always had a lot of uh, uh, berries. They're right at the end of the patch there. They're at the end of the lawn. There are a bunch of berries, and we had tons of berries. Passing germs to each other. This picture just blows me away. I wonder if my mom and dad were standing around saying, "Yeah, Bill, stand up on the very top." I'm watching it and I keep thinking Bill is one of my grandkids or one of my kids, and I'm ready to get over there and pull him off of that ladder. Now that we're getting back, I think we're at heading down to San Leandro. They're the Cerruti girls, Janet and Ann. Janet, the one on the ground pointing to something, and Ann standing, looks like she's got a little basket. There's the great Frank Cerruti, who passed earlier this year. A great Oakland A's fan. There's Donnie with his two cousins, Janet and Ann. Frank with his pondering hat on. Now, these pictures are taken, I think, out at the Oakland airport, and it's of uh, coming up here. We're all heading out to the Oakland airport. But these are pictures of Donnie, Janet, and Ann. I don't know if Frank was selling cars for Daily Chevrolet at the time, but I have to assume those are Chevys. And Donnie's got a little chicken there. So here we're at the Oakland airport, and we're standing out waiting for Uncle Harry to come. He's flying in on a Pan Am from Hawaii. There's Uncle Jack and Margaret Bertain Daly, with her back to you there on the right, and that's Uncle Jack on the left. It was always fun in the old days when the planes, you could actually get out and watch the planes taxiing, close to them like that, and actually watch the people get off the plane coming down the steps. That was sort of an exciting kind of a thing. Uncle Harry was the third, it was the youngest of the boys. There was uh, Uncle Louis, there he is, Uncle Harry, and he was Uncle Jack standing next to him, and I can't see who that is on the left. There's World Airways flying into Oakland, California. And I think he brought some leis for everybody. The girls, there's Margaret with her lei, Uncle Harry with his, and Alice and Don with his. Great picture. That's Margaret on the left, Jack, Harry, and Aunt Alice, and then Donnie standing in the front. Great picture of Margaret. Great picture of Aunt Alice. Uncle Jack and Uncle Harry, and there's Don being held by Bud Schneider. That was always, I remember Uncle Harry brought Lay's one time when we were up in Metropolitan. And it was always fun to remember those. Uncle Jack was driving an Oldsmobile, I guess. That was his car. Bud took a picture of Uncle Jack's logo. Great pictures of the Oakland airport. This is a little bit later. This is 1951 at the Metropolitan. We had a family reunion, and a lot of the relatives here were from our Moyne relatives. Grandma Bertain's family from up in Grants Pass, up in Oregon. A lot of these people I don't know, but they were from the Oregon contingent. It's sort of a fun baseball game. There's Dick showing us his great pitching form. I think somebody's got onto third base there. There's Dick Bertain. Everybody's standing around with an opinion on something. Hey, I got on with a hit. There's Joe in the shirt. I think that's Frank. That's Laddie. Coming in on second. Someone coming home. There's Dick scoring. Dick in his white socks. That's the way you could tell Dick in these pictures. All these old cars were parked out in our field. Casey at the bat. There you go. So, I don't know. I think quite a few of these people slept at our house, slept at the house in Metropolitan. That wasn't worth the greatest of things. There's Bill in those great little outfit. There's Ann, Cerruti, John. That's our great arbor, and then behind the arbor was the little lawn that we used to play. That's the dad's orchard. These pictures, I think, were taken from the bell tower at home at the Metropolitan, looking out down over the field with all the cars parked there. And this is Bill, and back it's Doan Donahue. Probably looks like Alice down there. Someone trying to dump one of the kids somewhere. That's Donnie. And in the Metropolitan, there was a bell tower, and it had a bell in it that rang. And all of us used to go over there and try to ring it. And Dad would make a big deal out of that. Can't tell who that. There's Dick Bertain, one of our Oregon relatives. Coming out, there's Jeanette. I think she was pregnant there with Mike or Doug Bertain. Not sure which. They'll have to get me clarified on that. There's Uncle Jack, Uncle Harry, This is a great sequence of shots. Is they're preparing. Oh, there's my elegant Aunt Pauline Bertain, Uncle Louis's wife, and there's Marie Begay, her organ relatives, whoever they are, and there's Joanne Cerruti with her talking to the camera. There's Grandma Bertain, uh, my grandmother, and there's Alice. And there's Pauline sneaking around the back there. Now, trying to get all of these people, there's my mom, Ellen Bertain, trying to get all these people in the back to get them in a picture. And if there ever was a job that somebody, I can't tell who that was. It's like herding, the proverbial herding of cats. You know, you've got all these people who are related somehow, and you want to get them into one spot to get them into a picture. And that is an art. There's Frank Bickford. Dick in the middle there, Dad talking to Dad. Oh, there she is. There's Laddie. Uh, I think Jeanette had her baby the day right around the picnic sometime in this thing. This is, of course, probably one of those somebody putting a picture on the back of Uncle Louis. There's Marie Begay and the French organ cousins kissing. There's Mary Bertain Bickford. I just can't imagine how long this picture took. I, I think we had it at the reunion this summer, and everybody was trying to get pictures, you know, fill in the names of these people in this picture. And it was quite an accomplishment to have actually got everybody to stand in one spot. Uh, if I'm not mistaken, that's John Bickford, right in the left there. There's uh, Don Schneider and or no, it's Janet Cerruti. And there's Janet. And there's Ian. Kissing cousins there. Uh, there's Mom out in the middle of all those people. There's Grandma and her boys. There's George on the left, Alice, Harry behind Grandma, Louie and Jack. 5 out of the 7 kids. And then there's Grandma and her sister, Tante Plate. My dad always said how big Tante Plate was. Well, she was big relative to Mary or to Grandma, but my Mary's grandmother was 6 foot, weighed 280 pounds or something like that. Now that was a big lady. There's Frank Bickford, Joe, I think, to the left there. Milling around, there's Grandma in the back with some of the Emil was Grandma's brother who ended up in Grants Pass, and so there were a lot of their relatives came down. There's trying to think if there's Haley on the left, and that looks like Harold Mendes. So I assume that was Donna. This is, I'm not sure who that is. Is that? Oh, that's my sister Eleanor, and I don't know whose baby that is. Well, if you could see, these pictures aren't in any particular order, time-wise. There's Uncle Harry. I think now these are back down in Napa, in that area. There in front of the house on Vallejo Street in Napa. There's Donnie and Uncle Harry. Grandma standing there in her coat and her peasant outfit. There's Aunt Ellen and Aunt Alice and Grandma, Donnie. Great picture of Grandma. This is Mrs. Schubert. I think she was the next door neighbor. Knows he gotten in all the business. So she was like a, when Colette and I went down to spend time with Grandma, we ended up spending a lot of time with her too, I think. There's Len Bertain in the background there. It's Donnie, I guess. Yeah. Now we're taking Uncle Harry over to the airport to send him off. And again, like I said earlier, these are a lot of fun. As they say, might as well entertain people with taking pictures of helicopters to kill a little time. What I think I'm going to do is try to clean this up by, I guess, Uncle Harry is leaving on Philippine Airlines to go to Hawaii. Yeah, bless him. I never did get it. There's Frank. No, there's Uncle Harry. I never did get a handle on who that lady was. Maybe that was Uncle Harry's wife. I don't know. There's Joe, Uncle Joe. And this is the great send-off for Uncle Harry. There's Uncle Harry taking off. Amazing. Uncle Harry lived in Hawaii, so of course he was going back on obviously an airline that would have a reason to stop in Hawaii on the way to the Philippines. And we got about a minute left on this video. You know, you can imagine the amount of faith you had to have in someone to fly from California to find the Hawaiian Islands in the middle of the Pacific. What a act of faith that is. I don't know where this is. There he goes. Now we're back at the beginning.